Okay, the barista can take it from here.
Oh, great. I will just say hi, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to the Candidate Cafe. I am one of your baristas I'm in Connecticut. My name's Justin Paglino, along with Tom Wakely in New Mexico, right, Tom?
Correct, New Mexico.
Yeah. So this is a pretty informal chance for candidates to talk a little bit about their campaigns and field questions or whatnot. So if you are a candidate for office as a Green, could you maybe put in the chat your name and what office you're running for? And then we will go in that order, I think, of calling on the candidates to just talk a little bit about their race, you know, briefly, and then give people a chance to ask questions and whatnot. Sound good? Jason, why don't you go ahead and tell us about your candidacy this year, or is it next?
Thanks, Justin. And Tom, I used to live in New Mexico. I lived in Albuquerque for 5 years on and off. So hope things are going to be okay down there in the desert Southwest in the coming years with water. I actually did a little bit of politics down in New Mexico. Ran for state senate. I don't even remember the district, but it was a Republican that hadn't been challenged. And one of the things that I identified down there was that the natural aquifer that feeds Albuquerque was back in 2008 was already a third mined. So I know water shortages are going to be an issue in the desert Southwest, but that's a diversion. Jason Call, I am running for the third time for U.S. House in Washington State, 2nd District, running against arguably the worst Dem at the House federal level in Washington State, Rick Larsen. He's been there for 12 terms now and takes a ton of money from the fossil fuel industry and the war machine, spent his entire career on House Armed Services. Very, very behind the curve on social issues. I think my candidacy finally pushed him into supporting legalization of marijuana, but that's only because he would have stuck out like a sore thumb now that most Dems are actually behind it. Unfortunately, not the president. So I'm running for the third time here as a Green Party member. My platform has always been Green Party aligned, Medicare for all. I've been an anti-war protester my entire adult life, protested the first war in Iraq, Desert Storm, 1990, 1991. I'm on the board of Whole Washington. Later on, you will be seeing a movie called Healing Us about the fight for Medicare for all, single-payer healthcare. I am actually with the Red Berets, who assisted with that movie and are featured throughout. In fact, I'm in a couple of the shots and was at many of the events that are featured in that. And so we're fighting for a single-payer healthcare system here in Washington State, as others are doing in other states. I was a former high school math teacher, taught at Highland High School in Albuquerque for a year and a half. But most of my teaching has been done here in Washington State. Was there for almost 20 years in public education. A union member, building rep, union activist, elected to my local for a number of years. And I think we've got a real opportunity here in Washington 2nd District to replace a terrible Democrat. And Washington is a top 2 primary state, just like California. So however many people file for the seat, the top 2 move on to the general election. And I came in 3rd place twice in 2020 and 2022, a very close 3rd place. And I'm confident that if I can get 2nd place next to Rick Larsen, that I can beat him. He's certainly somebody who needs to be replaced. So happy to take any questions as we move on, and looking forward to hearing other candidates. Thank you.
Great. Jason, nice and succinct and to the point, and I can tell you've been doing this a while. I could think of some questions, but any questions for Jason on his run for Congress in Washington, his third run?
Hariaksha here.
Go ahead, Ariaksha.
Yeah, howdy, Justin and Tom Wakely. Nice to see y'all. And Jason, you mentioned Medicare for all, but then you also called it single payer. It seems like we got to come up with a brand that everybody agrees on. Maybe you've experimented with different labels. So that's one question. And the other one, is it top two? Did I understand that correctly? You have to be in the top two finishers?
Yes. So
Congo?
as many people can file, like we've had 10 people file for the seat before. You know, this is a seat that the Republican Party knows it can't win. So what we end up is like 6, 7, 8, you know, really wacko Republicans file for the seat. And in the last 2 elections, we do have conservatives here in the district, and so they typically get around 35%. It has been, and Rick Larson will handily beat them because it's like a D+16 district. But I came in 1% behind, like 2,600 votes behind in 2020. Actually so close that they districted me out by 2 miles for 2022. So it's another Democratic Party tactic right there. Somebody gets close, we'll just redraw the boundaries. But thankfully, federal rules don't require that I live in district, and I was a District 2 resident and voter for 20 years. So I still consider myself to be District 2, and most of my work has been done. And I've lived in the district for, that long, worked in the district, all over the district. My work takes me all over. So I've got a lot of allies in the district still. So the fact that I'm 2 miles out, not a big deal. I've got a lot of name recognition here. So yeah, however many file, top 2 move on. And it works the same way in California. And I think the other state that it works that way in is Louisiana. Now, as far as Medicare for all, you're right. What do we want to call it? How do we describe it? It's, universal health care doesn't quite cover it. But single payer is a way to describe the fact that, basically the government is paying bills, that we are cutting private insurance out. So we've had that discussion, what is the appropriate thing to call it? I don't know that we have come on something. I mean, Bernie kind of coined Medicare for all many, many years ago, and that kind of became what it is. But then the problem with that is a lot of people think that Medicare is not even though it's wildly popular. A lot of people think that there are a lot of failings to Medicare, and they're like, well, we don't want to expand those failings. So that's why we call it National Improved Medicare for All. But is there a single succinct thing that doesn't require that we explain really what it is? Not really. And so, yeah, we have to keep having that discussion about what the program actually is.
Thank you, Jason. We have right now about 4 more people signed up, and I figure if we give them each at least 10 minutes, we'll be on, we'll make sure to get to everybody. And again, if you're coming new to this, if you're a candidate, please indicate so in the chat so we know to invite you to speak about your candidacy. Jason, I want to ask a couple generic questions about campaigning. Now that you've done this a few times, what have you found to be the most, challenging or frustrating experience in the campaign versus what do you think has been some of the biggest successes you've had, or what are you most proud of in terms of being able to accomplish as a campaign?
Well, I mean, two cycles in a row, we've gotten over 30,000 votes. So when those first numbers came in 2020, that was almost triple the number of votes that any left of Democratic Party. Well, and I should say, my first 2 runs I ran as a Democrat, but a very progressive left Democrat. I was very much aligned with the Bernie Sanders campaign, did a lot of volunteer work for Bernie here in the district. So I was clearly challenging the Democratic Party establishment the same way that Bernie challenged the Democratic Party establishment. So, but I pulled almost 35,000, 34,500 votes, almost triple the number of votes that any prior left of Democratic candidate had gotten in the past, or left-leaning Democrat had gotten in the past. So I thought that was a huge success. We got endorsed by a number of local Democratic Party organizations, legislative district, county Democratic Party organizations. In fact, in 2022, we were stole endorsed by a couple of them, which means they endorsed me and they did not endorse Rick Larsen. But most of those endorsements were dual endorsements, where they said, you know, we are fine with, you know, either of these candidates will represent us well. So the biggest challenge, you know, so I consider those to be successes, just the vote count itself and the fact that we got Democratic Party organization endorsements while running clearly to the left of the establishment. The challenge, two of them, I would say one is youth turnout. I think if we can motivate young people, college age people, and high school kids who are in their first voting cycle, for those of them who are going to be voting, if we can kind of wake them up to the responsibility of voting, and that's not to say that electoralism is the be all and end all of what we need to do to save the future, but it is part of it because that is the system that we are working within. You know, like I said, 2,600 votes behind. If college students had voted, and you know, the turnout for college for the 18 to 29-year-olds was 9%, 10%, 11%. I don't remember what it was, but it was abysmally low. We really need to improve that turnout in this election. My campaign, I will say, will live and die on whether young people show up to vote. If they don't show up to vote, you know, we're not going to make it, because the 65 and older demographic, they vote in the primaries at over 50%. And they trend a lot more conservative. That's not to say that we don't have supporters among the older demographic. We absolutely do. But in terms of numbers of voters, we need to get young voters to turn out. And then the other part of it is getting the voters that I had, many of whom were Democrats and supported me while I was running as a Democrat. The other challenge is to make sure that those people will continue to support me as a Green, because a lot of them, you know, having people understand that this is there's no chance a Republican will win the seat, not one. And so to have those people look at the two candidates and say, look, you've got a guy that you voted for before as a Democrat. He's running on exactly the same platform. What would it hurt to vote for him again in the primary, to hold on to those 30,000 plus votes and expand that total? Convincing those Democrats that I'm not a traitor to the Democratic Party by doing this. The Democratic Party is actually a traitor to the things that you believe in. So those are the two challenges that I see.
That's fantastic, Jason. I appreciate it, and thank you, Jason. We're gonna move on to our next candidate, Stephen Welzer, running for U.S. House in New Jersey. Steve, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your campaign, please?
Yes, and here's the key thing about why I am running. I've run in the past, but this year is very important because what happens in New Jersey is, of course, we have to petition to get our candidates on the ballot. And then they almost always stick our candidates in a column called nomination by petition on maybe the extreme right side of the ballot in very tiny letters. It's not conducive for anybody finding our candidates, or if somebody wanted to vote Green Party, they'd really have to look hard on the ballot to find us. Except, so that's the norm, but if we can run in any given year, especially a presidential year, if we can run a candidate for president and U.S. Senate and U.S. House in any particular district, then they just about have to give us a column which is on the left-hand side of the ballot next to the Democrats and Republicans. So it looks much more official and it's much easier to find our candidates. We know that we always get more votes under those circumstances. So the Green Party in New Jersey is going to try to do this in 2024. There's a presidential candidate, of course, and we recruited a candidate for US Senate. And then we're going to try to run candidates in every congressional district, of which there are 12 in the state of New Jersey. So we're actively recruiting right now to get those 12 individuals. In that case, on every ballot in the state of New Jersey, we would have a column, a Green Party column, which is visible and prominent. So we know for a fact that all our candidates will get more votes that way. But especially, let's talk about, the presidential candidate then will get an awful lot more votes appearing atop a Green Party column on the ballot. So that's a primary consideration. Other than that, and the other thing to say is that like Jason said, people don't always know that you don't have to live in the district to run for Congress. There are cases. We had a case in Jersey recently where they redrew the lines, and some Republican was no longer in the district, but was still popular in that district. So they ran, they won, and then they moved into the district. The key thing about that for us is that we don't necessarily have to find 12 individuals who happen to live in the 12 districts. If we want to find as many people as possible like that, they're natives, to the district. But if we wind up with 4 districts where we don't happen to have native candidates, well, then any individual in the Green Party then can volunteer to run in that district. Then they would have to go and do research and learn all about the district, the issues, the incumbent, and so on and so forth. I assume I'm going to be running in the 3rd congressional district where I live, but I'm certainly willing, if we need a candidate in another district and there's somebody else in the 3rd who will do it, then I would volunteer to run in another district and do the appropriate research. Over.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks for everything you're doing with the Green Party of New Jersey there. Does anybody have any questions for Steve about his run? Is this your first run, Steve?
No. And as a matter of fact, to say something about that, I have always said to my Green Party colleagues, I was a founder of the Green Party in New Jersey in 1997. After that 96 campaign by Ralph Nader, there was a lot of energy, and we took that energy and we founded the Green Party in New Jersey. Now, I have always said to my colleagues, look, the Greens, if you look around all across the country, we don't run enough candidates. I mean, it's actually embarrassing that the Libertarian Party, which has a stupid ideology, it really is, that party runs many more candidates than the Greens do, 2 or 3 times as many. So I say to just about everybody I know in the Green Party, get out there and get yourself on the ballot if you can. In New Jersey, to run for Congress, it takes 100 signatures as a threshold. It really means we got to get 200, but that's nothing. So I've always said to people, get out there and run. For years, I worked for the state judiciary, and I wasn't allowed to engage in partisan politics. But as soon as I retired, I've run just about every year since then, because I think that Greens should try hard to get themselves on the ballot, or a friend or something, because we don't run enough candidates. Over.
Thank you, Steve. Yes, I echo that. It's great. We need more people running, and helping people see Green candidates on the ballot goes a long way. Any other questions for Steve?
Justin, can we go to Robin next?
Sure. Oh, well, I want to go to Jasmine next. She's next in the queue. Jasmine, where are you? Hi. So you are running for president. Can't hear you though. You're unmuted, but I can't hear you. Can anyone hear Jasmine?
Can't hear.
Do you have headphones plugged in or something? Oh, connecting to audio. How about now?
Ow.
No. Oh, there we go. I can hear you
Oh,
now.
wonderful. I apologize. Each time I come in and out of these Zoom rooms, it resets my microphone. I do apologize. My name is Jasmine Sherman, and I am currently running or seeking seeking your nomination through the Green Party. I am a Green Party member in Charlotte, North Carolina. I have a platform of guaranteed housing, universal health care, which is Medicare for all, including dental and vision. We also have a platform of free education with universal basic income. Everything that I discuss about my platform, if you go to my website at jasminesherman.com, jasminesherman2024.com, fatsocialist.com, or fatblacksocialist.com, any of those websites, you will be able to see not only my policies, you will be able to see how we pay for it and what that plan looks like. You will also, if you are someone that is busy, there is an audiobook option, which you can listen to all of the policies and have them read to you. Another thing that I would suggest that the Green Party and other parties do is that we all join together. I am already on the state's 7 states ballots via the Unicorn Party. And if all of the minor parties come together, we can really strike a blow and actually win this. People are evaluating these races based on pre-COVID knowledge. They're not paying attention to all of the strikes. They're not paying attention to what Gen Z is saying. Right now, they want their environment fixed and they want younger people in office. And I think that this is a chance using my campaign to get your message out there to a more intersectional audience, an audience that is ready for real change and are not afraid of words like socialism.
Thank you, Jasmine. I'll open it up to questions, but I have one. Could you tell us a little bit about the Unicorn Party, which I'm not familiar with, and if any of those 7 states have any problems with you would be possibly appearing on 2 ballot lines? If you were
So we have checked the 7 states that we are on the ballot currently. The Green Party doesn't have access to in some of those states. So we have been listed as unaffiliated because we did inform the Secretary of State of this plan. So I know definitely in Florida we're listed as unaffiliated, and on Ballotpedia we're also listed as unaffiliated.
So in those, if
So
you
we-
were nominated by the Green Party, would you appear on the Green Party if they did get ballot access in those states between now and then?
Yes, I mean the Green Party, like my goal, and I would like to be candid, is my goal is to win. I am not a candidate that is seeking to push the Democrats further left. I am actually trying to win this election. My staff and I got on my tour bus, like we have been touring the country already. We had a reception and a couple of states. We've been to Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Kentucky, and New York and New Jersey and Virginia. So we are already on the move. We already have a hashtag on TikTok and a presence. So if I win the Green Party's nomination, I would be committed to the Green Party, not just because it is something to do and it's strategic, but it is something that is the closest party that emulates trying to care about the environment. If anybody is paying attention, we are no longer in a global warming state. We are officially in a global boiling state, and there are no candidates talking about not using fossil fuels in the mainstream media.
I got
Great.
a question, or not a question, much as a comment for all the candidates. Those of us that are serving on the coordinated campaign committee, we've been talking a lot about branding. So one of the things I'd like all of y'all to encourage is when you set up a website, don't use .com. You should be using .green. And if we can
So
get all you candidates out there, send a website .green, it would help with our efforts on terms of branding. You
how
know,
do you guys feel about a candidate utilizing your branding prior to getting your nomination? Wouldn't that be false advertising or a violation of what is in the rules?
what do you mean?
Like,
I'm talking
for
about
me to go-
branding the Green Party. You know, branding is just like Coca-Cola has a brand. You know, Pepsi.
right? What I'm saying is because I am currently seeking the nomination, I have tons of domains. Buying one that says Green Party is not an issue. Would the Green Party allow that? Because it takes 100 signatures for, according to the Green Party, to be placed on your website in recognition. So what I'm asking for is a clarification of the rules prior to me taking that Green Party step, which I'm willing to do today.
Well, it's, there's no rules that says you can or can't. You can have a .com, .org, doesn't matter. .green is not owned by the Green Party. .green is just a domain name, you know, like .tv, .org.
Not a problem.
So are there any other questions for Jasmine? So you've been touring on a bus. You've been to several states?
Yes, we have purchased a campaign bus that has 5 sleeping bunks, and we've been traveling around the country. We have a full tour schedule that will be running until the end of the year and restart doing the West Coast at the beginning of the year. We will be in Texas, I think, by October.
Great. I'm seeing more candidates coming in that we're going to have to try and keep room for. But Amy has a question.
Just really quick, because I'm now looking over Jasmine's website. Jasmine, do you have a COVID policy in mind?
So the COVID policy would be, should COVID still be an issue, everyone be with lockdown for 90 days because we would be giving people universal health care. So they will be at home quarantined. We have a disabled population that is still heavily impacted by COVID. And unfortunately, most people think that that's a gone disease, and it's not. So my policy would be to mandate or remand people in the lockdown situation.
How do you feel about vaccines?
I support vaccinations. We have to think about the most marginalized amongst us.
Thank you so much.
Nissan. Can you unmute?
Hello. Yes. So I represent a multitude of different organizations with building out independent network for candidates. How can people reach out to you in your campaign to help talk about providing resources?
Heck yeah. So we have a desperate need for volunteers. We do, part of the way that we are fundraising to meet the $100,000 threshold for the FEC is we are on that campaign bus. We are selling chicken and paying the staff that come to our campaign. So we do believe in paying the people that work here. If you are someone that would like to volunteer, I have been putting my link tree in the comment section. I am also putting a QR code, like a flyer, in the comment section. If you click that, it'll give you access to my Calendly and application, my staff directory. We're really nice, everybody. We've been working together on this for about 2 years. So we definitely would like to participate and work on with people who are ready for drastic change, because the Green Party has an opportunity to set itself apart, not as Democrat diet, but actually say, we need to guarantee that everyone's basic human needs are met, and we will win this election.
Carrie Campbell. Carrie.
Thank you, Justin. Jasmine, I have a couple of questions. Maybe I didn't hear it. Your education, your professional background. How are you supporting and financing your campaign at this point? Thank you so much.
Yes. So in my link tree, you'll also have access to my LinkedIn. I did resign from my employment at Bank of America on Juneteenth. I set myself free. And I am living off of my own financial means. I am fortunate enough to have become a millionaire at an early age. So I'm living off of my own funds. In regard to how I'm funding my campaign, like I said before, on the campaign trail, we are earning the money for donations. We are not just asking people, we are fundraising and selling food. Alongside of selling food to the community, we are feeding the houseless, demonstrating mutual aid to the communities. I have a master's degree in finance, and I went to the University of Phoenix, which last I checked is one of the hardest schools to graduate from online.
Have you been elected to any other office before? Have you served on local civic association, PTA, things like that?
Yes. So no, I have never been elected. I am only 38 years old come August 22nd. You know in advance, so don't forget to give me a birthday shout out. I'm expecting it. What happened is I have been running a mutual aid in Charlotte, North Carolina called Greater Charlotte Rise, where I have personally been supporting 28% of the house's population. I am running for president because when I tried to get housing through buying an old jail, my city council said no. The county commissioner said no, and the governor said no. There is no reason in one of the second largest banking capitals in the world that we have a houseless population. And so I am running for president using this information, using my personal resources to end houselessness in the United States, which is what everyone wants.
Jasmine, I think we have to move on pretty soon, but could I ask, are you involved? Someone asked in the chat, are you involved with the North Carolina Green Party?
Yes, I have partnered. The Green Party in North Carolina has helped me through Greater Charlotte Rise. Because that is a nonprofit organization, we are respectful of the 501c3, 50c4, but I have stood by them sides when I was with the leader of Pro-Choice Charlotte. Our booths were right next to each other, working in conjunction with anybody that is interested in basic human rights in Charlotte.
But you're not an active member of the North Carolina Party right now?
No, I have not had the time to attend their events. I have been doing others.
One more, Carrie, take your hand down if you're done, or maybe you have another question. Noah, do you have a quick question before we move on?
Yeah, I just wanted to get your take on what you would do as president to protect trans people, particularly trans youth, compared to the Biden administration's total abdication on that.
Great question. I'm a trans person myself. The first thing that we have to do to protect trans youth is gut the foster care and adoption system by providing people who are 16 and older access to their own domiciles through the guaranteed housing program. We then have taken them out of harm's way. They have their own space where they do not have to rely on being on the streets or not having support. We also would be providing them with universal health care and covering any medicines that they need to be who they are. Medicine and a Sherman administration would be between the doctor and the patient, no longer a third-party middleman. So please check out my policy on my universal healthcare policy and my guaranteed housing policy and my adoption policy. All of those do have an accessibility feature as well, if you are someone that is busy or someone that needs it read to you. Because the way that we stop children and trans people from being abused is by going ahead and meeting their basic human needs so they can be who they are.
Thank you, Jasmine. Sounds like you're running an exciting campaign and bringing up a lot of important issues. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for running green. And I know that on your website, you're looking to collect signatures.
I need 100, and then I will be recognized on your website officially as one of your presidential candidates.
Mm-hmm. All right. So thank you. Let's move on to Robin Lorraine, running for Board of Trustees for Michigan State U. Robin, where's Robin? Is Robin still with us? Is Robin not with us? I don't see Robin. Okay. Oh, there you are. Hi, Robin. She's kind of frozen. I'm worried that Robin might be having connectivity issues.
Hello?
Hi,
Okay,
Robin.
can you hear me?
Okay, that seems a little
Justin?
better. Yep, hear you better now. Go ahead. Maybe you need to stop your video, Robin. That might help us hear you. Can you stop your video? It's just
Why don't you go on to someone else?
Okay, we'll come back to you. Davi?
For some reason I can't hear. Okay,
Okay, please go ahead and mute
how about
Robin.
now?
Davi? Oh, Robin, are you better
Can you hear me
now?
now?
It's a little better. You want to try and speak?
For Michigan State University Board of Trustees. And
Sorry, Robin, it's just not working. We'll try again. See if you can improve your connection and we'll come back to you, okay? We have Davi.
I can't hear you.
What's that?
Move on to one.
Okay, sorry, Robin, we can't hear you or understand you. I'm sorry. It's a connectivity issue. Do we have Davi?
Greetings, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Greetings.
Hey everyone, my name is Davi. This is my first public appearance as an American presidential candidate, so thank you for being part of this special moment for me personally. I would like to take this opportunity to essentially just take you on a tour of my website. I have a hypothesis, and the hypothesis is that I think that people need words, right? We've never actually sat down and talked about what equality is, right? So what is equality? You have to write it down, and then there's certain words that people need to say in order for people to feel those things, right? Well, people also don't like listening and reading words either. So how do we communicate? How do we still reach each other beyond these limits? So I'm a music artist, and I created a new American national anthem. So what I'm gonna do is use 7 minutes to go through the campaign plan. And then on the backside of that, the last 3 minutes of my time, I'm going to either give you an opportunity to go to bydavi.com and listen through your stereo, or I'll play it here. Maybe it'll sound all right. All right, sound good? Okay.
All right, I'm gonna keep an eye on your time, Davi, but go ahead.
Okay. Oh, actually, I can't even go to my website.
Do you want to be a co-host?
Yeah, if that's okay.
No, I can't do it. I'm not a co-host myself. I don't have that power as a barista. I'm only a barista.
Starlene, are you there?
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the time, Justin. We only have an hour for this and there's a lot of candidates. I just, but I can give you screen share. Is it going to take very long, Davi?
No, I just broke down the time. I said 10 minutes. Hey.
I thought, this is Nancy Wallace on the CCC. I'm sorry. My understanding was that we were trying to focus on state and local in the candidate cafes.
Yeah, that's what I was told too.
Yeah, and this is not meant to be a platform for the presidential. That will be more appropriate later on and perhaps next summer or next spring. But if you might just want to give everybody.
We didn't do this with anybody else, right? So
let me, since we already.
Presidential candidate that spoke, so we're just going to move forward.
It's true. We already gave time to Jasmine. So to be fair, we really should see if you can keep it to 5 minutes, Davi.
Okay, you should be able to screen share now, Davi.
Okay.
Yeah. Keep it quick.
All right, great. Is everybody seeing it?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, so at the end of this, we're going to go to GNM, Green National Meeting, because I'm taking a poll, and to see how this works. So anyway, greetings, my fellow human. I am Davi, tech founder and avatar of Earth. In New York City in 2020, I vowed to ensure the sacred protection and natural evolution of humanity and Earth. I'm running to earn your vote in 2024 as the President of America and leader of the free world. My areas of focus are rehabilitation and recycling, providing a healing-oriented support for those ailing in body, mind, and/or behavior. Finding harmony and balance between usage and contribution to Earth. Second is the American Refresh, a 4-year transition where through paced collective voting, Americans vote for the exact government we want moving forward, intentionally managing the growth of technology. And then finally, the mediator wing, an emergency
We've lost your audio, Davi. Hello?
I'm muted suddenly.
Oh, no, we lost your audio somehow, but you're back.
Okay. So you can click the full campaign plan and it breaks these things down. So That's all I wanted to show you at the website.
Right.
So if you go to the music tab, you can push play. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it. Can you hear it?
I don't hear. We could invite people to go there and listen.
Yeah, if you can't hear it, then just, type in byte.v.com really quickly. It's at the bottom of the screen. And then you can hear it in the music tab.
All right. Did you want to add anything else, Davi, or do we have any other questions?
Yeah, you can start bringing in the questions.
Davi, just a point of clarification for me. When I first saw your website, you said you're running for president of the Americas.
I didn't say that.
Or the president of America.
America.
Up there on the website you just showed, it said president of America.
Yeah, America, not the Americas.
Well, America, America is Canada, United States, Central America, South America, that's all America. So it's kind of like, you should be saying, I'm running for the president of the United States of America versus the president of America. Just my own, that was just what came across to me when I first saw it.
Thank you. That's good. I understand that could be a point of confusion. Yes, thank you.
Any other questions for Davi? Oh, Davi, what state did you say you're in?
New York City. So I actually ran for mayor a couple years ago. And many of the issues that I'm facing right now with the algorithm and different members of the Green Party who have, blocked me from speaking happened in my mayor campaign. So it's not something I'm unfamiliar with, but my website is right at the bottom of the screen, byte.v.com, right next to my name. So it's not something I'm unfamiliar with, but we have a bigger job to do as the Green Party. This is the greatest opportunity in the history of America. Abraham Lincoln was a third-party candidate. We had the opportunity to release ourselves from this organization that has caused the repetition of war and disaster. They go back and forth, back and forth. People are looking and starving for good presidential debates. There's a whole presidential debate season that's gone because they've already decided who it should be. That means there's a space for us to fill. And I hope that we can choose to think bigger than our own ego and our own thinking, to allow something greater to come from us, not dictated to us, not preached to us, but chosen by us.
Thank you, Davi. Thank you for your run and for running green. We're going to have to move on out of time considerations. Margaret Elizabeth, you were in the chat as a candidate for local office. Margaret?
Yes. Hello. So I am, and I am, but my election happened 3 days ago. We're in the midst of counting the votes at the moment. So I feel like I'm not entirely in the same position as candidates who are coming up with elections, as it were. So I don't want to take too much time, but I will tell you this. Okay, so here's good news. We had 3 Greens running here in Seattle for Seattle City Council. And we do, Jason here is in Washington, so he kind of explained the top 2 go through from our, primary to the general. Well, one of our Greens made it through, and we're actually going to have a chance to run a Green and get a seat on Seattle City Council. So I'm really happy about that. Their name is Christiana Obey Sumner, and they have a really progressive campaign and a really strong candidate. I think we all recognize that for a lot of reasons, there's a lot of attention coalescing around the Green Party between like now and next November. And I think there is a lot of desire for all of us to sort of capture that and make sure we utilize it to the best of our ability and really try and drive a green, evergreen future for all of us. And I think that's something we can all get behind, irrespective of some of the other differences that we might share regarding other policies and things of the party. We're a huge party. We got a lot of diverse membership. So anyway, I just personally want to thank you all for being here. It's been a great A&M so far, and I look forward to seeing you in other stuff. I guess I could take some questions.
Any questions for Margaret? Here to your sentiments, Margaret. Thank you. Amy, are you wanting to ask a question? Go ahead.
Margaret, I saw a thread that you mentioned low turnout, but how did you do? Do you know yet, or are they still deciding that?
Well, the last count came out yesterday afternoon. I'm sitting at just about 5%. My opponents are at 42 and 51%, I think, relatively. So not great, but my opponents outspend me by $200,000. And like they spent the cap. And so like it's hard to compete against big money when you run a grassroots campaign. Outside of that, though, like of all the people who ran, like I looked around, it's hard to know, is there like a dollar to vote correlation? You know, like there must be some math there somewhere. But my observation was that the people who spent $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 got less votes than I did. It was only the people who spent 80,000 or more who got more than I did. And so there's like some sort of magic line there, but mind you, I'm talking, this is like 5,000 votes. Do you think spending $100,000 for 5,000 votes is like a really good use of campaign money? It's outrageous to me. Understand though that like here in Seattle, like every election is dominated by Amazon, right? Amazon donated $1 million to every mayoral candidate during our last race. So there you go.
That's why I tore up my Amazon card. Thank you for everything you've been doing. We appreciate you down south in Oregon.
Thanks, Amy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nancy, you have your hand raised next.
Margaret, a ballpark, how much is a winning campaign cost for the Seattle City Council? The Christiana,
Well, that's a good question. So let's say winning doesn't necessarily just mean getting through the primary, it means actually winning in the general. We implemented election reform laws here, and we do a sort of quasi public financing. It's kind of wonky and the gatekeeping is very high, but we have two funding thresholds, $90,000 for the first one, and then $95,000 for the second. So but there's a weird exception. If anybody in your race gets an endorsement from a PAC or a company that's based out of state, then the funding cap is lifted for everyone in your race by another $100,000, which is what happened in my race.
Is that a funding cap or a funding threshold? A
funding cap. Like, so we're capped at $90,000 unless somebody comes in from out of state and donates as well, like at the threshold numbers, which then raises the cap for every other candidate. Which doesn't lower it, it just raises, so you can raise more money. And essentially that's what happens in our races. Here, like the most expensive, so the most you could spend was 90 grand, and the winning campaigns all did. In fact, most of them are carrying between $20,000 to $30,000 in campaign debt at the moment. And they're actually still have to pay that off. So they actually spent more than the 90 that they had. They just took it on as loans.
Wow. Holly, did you have a question?
Yeah, if I'm being heard.
Yep.
Am I unmuted? Okay, thank you. I'm in a hallway, so it's hard to tell. So Margaret, and forgive me if you've already touched upon this because I was not here at the beginning, but I know you you mentioned something about having this as a trial run for another race. And I noticed that you mentioned how many people did not get out to vote, the percentage of people that actually did vote in this race. And have you given concern, and I assume you have, but I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts about if you're planning to run again, how to try to gather the data on those who did not vote, and if you had any ideas about vote targeted new votes that you might get to put you over the threshold.
Well, I guess, so the answer is yes, this isn't my first run. Like, I take great inspiration from Harvey Milk. It took 9 times for him running before he finally won. I hope my influence is as impactful, but for different reasons. And, you know, this was just the first go of it. I think for me, I learned a whole lot of good stuff, but demographically speaking, one of the things that's really curious about where I live is that I live in a valley, and on either side of the valley is waterfront property where all the rich folks live, and all the poor folks kind of live in the middle, which is where I live. So you see a very sharp and distinct voting difference on a lot of policies. Like when we were voting for funding housing for all here, everyone along the waterfront voted no. Everyone down the middle of the valley voted yes. But curiously, when you look at like state level races for Congress, what we're seeing here in Seattle, at least, is the rich folks continually vote Democrat all the time, but the poor and working class are moving further right because they're perceiving the Democrats to be a party of the wealthy, which of course they are. So what this means to me is that this is a great opportunity for the Green Party in Seattle to step in and demonstrate how we are an actual leftist party. You don't have to abandon your working class principles and any of those things to have a political voice. And I think therein lies the challenge. You know, it's a pretty diverse place. I obviously represent an intersection of some privileges and some disadvantages. So it's hard to kind of make sure that I get out there into the neighborhood in the right kind of ways. But I think really what I would say to you is that I'm really optimistic about moving forward in Seattle races. We don't have any real option here. It's the corporate landlords versus all the rest of us. And I think that, you know, we need everyone who can stand up to them however they can do it. We just voted down rent control. We just voted it down. Mind you, in the last decade, rent's gone up 97% in Seattle, 97%. That's a staggering amount in 10 years, to be honest with you. The average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment is $1,700. No one can afford that here.
If I can back Margaret up on, sorry, Polly speaking.
I'm sorry, a quick follow-up. I just wondered if, and I don't know how it works in Seattle, but you mentioned your area. Is it possible to run at large? And if so, have you given thought to whether that would be an advantage or not?
Yes, we have 9 members of the council. 2 of them are at large seats. And yeah, I think that has a real great advantage because you can represent a bigger swath of people. People get real tight in their district, and I think that at-large bids have an opportunity to appeal to progressive voters in all the different districts. And, you know, to be honest, if you look at what Jason posted here, vis-a-vis his last run against the Democrats, I got a ton of voters. I got so many votes in my district that both of my opponents have called me to come in and conference with them about my policies and my positions. And I knew I wasn't going to beat the incumbent more than likely. She's popular. So my goal in this election was to shift the Overton window in Seattle. We need to talk about climate change and how that's going to impact us directly, especially the poor community. And, you know, if I don't care who fixes it, damn it, I just want it fixed. And if my opponents will take my ideas and implement them, I'm happy for that. I just want them done.
Thank you so much, Margaret, for everything you're doing in Seattle and for the National Party. I'm afraid we have to move on in the interest of time. I want to make sure everyone gets a chance. Thank you so much. Carrie Campbell, you are running
Thank
for
you.
What seat?
Yeah, I'm running for Fairfax County Board of Supervisors in Braddock District. And I just want to say it was great being able to listen to Margaret now, very insightful, very intelligent, and very gently put. I'm one of 3 independent Greens running in Fairfax County, Virginia for local Board of Supervisors. I'm in Braddock District. Corazon Foley is in Mason District. Terry Modulin is, Corazon Springfield. Terry is in Mason District. Well, we're running on a green platform of walkable, bikeable, pedestrian, rail-friendly communities, more trains, less traffic. We have been running here in Fairfax and in Virginia, some of us for as long as various offices for about 20 years. And in the on the ballot in the debate helps define the debate. And Margaret, for example, 5% there illustrated it wonderfully. The incumbents and the candidates who are there learn your positions, know your positions, and you change the policy. We advocated in prior campaigns for a green bank, and now Fairfax County has a green bank. And in this cycle, we're advocating for more funding for the green bank. And that is for low-income folks to put in renewable energy in their homes, geothermals, solar. So those are key positions. I have a bachelor's degree in history and languages. I've been a Green since meeting Patrick Kelly in the 1970s. I work as an accountant the past 35 years. Some of you may have seen me over the years. We do an internet Green Party, Green TV that we started, I guess, in about 2011. We do it less often now, but we try to interview various Green Party candidates and promote them. We have it on YouTube, and it's a local cable show. And I want to close by praising Steve Wetzler. I hope I'm saying that right, Steve. You and I both have been around a long time, and I really, really agree with what you say about us having as many candidates on the ballot every year for local, state, and federal office, for Greens to be on that ballot. I would love to see us have a full slate of Greens, 435 Greens running for Congress next year, U.S. House, and 33 running for U.S. Senate. I don't want to talk too much, but I want to listen more. It's been great to listen to everybody. And I want to mention the other candidates: Steve, Justin, Jasmine, Robin, Davi, Margaret. All of you, thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing for the Greens and putting your name out there.
All right. Thank you, Carrie. Any questions? Patrick Dillon? Patrick? I hear some background noise, but I can't really hear your voice. Patrick? Patrick, I'm not hearing good audio. Okay, I'm sorry, Patrick. We can't really hear you. I wanted to give Robin one more chance to see if her audio is better now. Robin, could you want to try again? Robin Lorraine? Hi, Robin.
How's that?
I'm afraid it hasn't improved. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
I can kind
Hello?
of. Hi.
Hi, Justin.
Hi. You're running for office?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I think your audio is still low quality. I'm hearing it coming in and out. We're just about at the end of our time. Maybe you could try coming back. We have 2 more candidate cafes scheduled this weekend. We have one tomorrow at noon, and we have one tomorrow. That's Eastern time, noon Eastern time. And we have one at 6:45 tomorrow Eastern time. So I invite all candidates who either had audio problems or didn't get a chance to speak for other reasons. I see Craig Cataneo is here, and I know, Craig, you didn't get a chance to speak. I'm sorry. But maybe you could attend one of the other 2 candidate cafes. Are you there, Craig? He might not be there. Oh, yeah. Hi, Craig.
Hey, how are you, Justin? Of course. No, I appreciate the opportunity. I'll be back. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on in New Jersey, so I'll be happy to share tomorrow.
Okay, that works. Great. I'll be here again tomorrow at noon. tonight's program, there's another set of workshops happening at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then at 9:45 is the Healing Us film about single payer Medicare for all. Any other closing thoughts from our baristas or anything? I want to thank everybody so much for being green, for running green, and for sharing your thoughts and your plans here. Go green. All right, thanks everybody.
And watch the movie tonight.